So to my wonderful friends on Facebook, obviously we're based over in the Southern Hemisphere, so it's bright and early. And where you're based in Hungary, it's moving into the later hours of the evening. But Zsuzsanna.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah.
thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend the next 20 minutes or so to talk about your business, where you help overbooked clients turn their one-on-one into a one-to-many model, which is by creating a program, and then helping them write the content for that program as well, which is an absolutely phenomenal service. So I'm super excited to hear more about, how you started this journey, why you now do what you do, and of course ask a few other questions along the way. So I'll stop talking and I'll hand it over to you. And first off, I'd love to know a little bit more about you, and hear a little bit more about your story.
So I started teaching when I was 4. I had very smart teddies and dolls around the house. But then because I'm from a country where English is not spoken as a first language, and when I grew up, because I am old enough, it was we were under the Russian oppression, and so everybody learned Russian. And by the time I got to 16, I learned to speak English, and then this is how I started teaching English. And then the more I taught English, the more I recognized that there's no teaching, just learning. And so I tried to create learning experiences for my students. And also with the advance of technology, I figured out that we don't need to get together in a classroom to have the same learning experience. We can do it online. And then I had a language school, and then I had my son, and then I had all those personal happenings that people have, and then I say, okay, now I have to do something that is less location based and more flexible and more scalable, so that I can be with my son, right? And then I used blended learning when I was teaching English way back, and then I designed some corporate courses. And then late 2016, I started talking about how to design courses on Facebook, and then I had my first client, and that was it. And ever since, I'm talking about it on Facebook and on Instagram, and nowadays on LinkedIn, and so I have clients like that. Yeah, so this is in a nutshell.
Yeah, awesome. So now is it solely coaches that you help now?
Yes, because I see that there are so many amazing coaching offers out there, but I also see that they can get really burnt out if they do these one-on-one coaching. And then I also see that because it's not in real time, what we are doing now, it's in real time, so we engage. Even though we are over the screen, we read each other's energy, and it's completely different when you design an online course. So a lot of them struggle with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know through my own experience, as well as other coaches, when you're a coach, you've got lots of coaches in your life as friends. And I know from experience that it can be really quite daunting to go from a one-on-one to then selling courses. Have you found that that there is some hesitation around it with people that you've worked with, or have they just been ready to make that transition?
Well, they say you don't change unless your fear of change is smaller than the actual pain that you're going through or the struggle you're going through. So once you get to the point of feeling that you need to change, then I'm there for you to help. I don't want to push people into situations where they don't feel comfortable, because then just like with any coaching or anything that you sell, if you are not 100% behind it, then you cannot sell it. So there's no use in creating a course just to have it dusted over on the digital shelves of the internet.
Yeah. So you're finding that the people that come and work with you, they're ready to make that move, and that would be your advice to when you feel ready to start transitioning that way, then make those steps. Don't just do it because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, I like to say, and over on Instagram, I have a 14-day series, so you can watch it in less than 30 minutes. And it's completely free, and I do ask questions based on which you can decide if you are ready to create your first online course or not. But what I say is that you have to have a process or a method that you teach for your one-on-one clients as well. You have to know the impact that you are, or the result that you deliver, and you have to feel that you don't need to be there for the transformation to happen, and then you are good to go. Because a lot of the times we believe that things happen because we are there and we do it as teachers or coaches, but a lot of the times it happens in a hidden way. So we learn to speak and nobody teaches us to speak. So is it like our mamas say that, oh, I taught you how to speak? No, you just start speaking. So this is how I like to think about online course creation. You create an environment where your students learn to speak.
Awesome. I really love that. I really love the way that you've put that, and I love the steps involved to know that you're ready and to give you that confidence. You know, I've spoken to a lot of people who want to start creating courses, but they're doing it because they can see the financial benefit of it. They can see that it's less time versus money, and, you know, then it gives them back some freedom, but they haven't necessarily done that pre-work yet through that one-on-one to get the results for their clients to then launch a self-guided course, which obviously, you know, I love that you've got that structure there so that you've ticked those boxes before you then try to launch something, because then, you know, yes, if you're great at sales, you can sell anything. But if you don't know that you can get your clients results, then you're pretty much just selling something out into the Neverland that will go on that shelf of never to be touched again, you know, items for consumers. So I love those steps, and thank you for sharing those with us. Like, that brings so much clarity.
On the one hand, it is always easy to fall for the shiny penny syndrome.
Yes.
You know, everybody's doing it, so I need to do it. But then if you are really building a sustainable business, then you want to have a great offer in place. And it can happen that you enroll students into your course, but if you don't have the transformation or the impact there, then, you know, if I like your service, I tell it to 3 more people. If I don't like your service, I tell it to 7 more people. So you don't want that.
Yes, I completely agree with you. So with the courses themselves, are they fully self-guided, or are they also kind of like that whole membership style? So for example, my clients, they have a Facebook group and a course, and they do get some one-on-one mentoring along the way, and then they can go off and fly by themselves. So I guess I've kind of packaged a course and me into one. But are the courses that you create, or for your clients, or that your clients create, they're more of a actual physical course people buy and then, you know, they go and implement?
It completely depends on your business model. So when we start working together, then I figure out what is your goal with your program. It can be a completely self-paced digital product and the student goes over it. It can be a group program where you get together like in a membership once a month, and then you get access to the educator and you ask questions. It can be a full-blown educational academy, whatever your business and your process allows us to create. I truly believe that there is a very subtle distinction between a membership and an online course, because for the membership, I like to call it as the canteen of the academy. So it's like where students get together and they talk, and where they have fun, but then they also talk about the curriculum. And in a course, it's more like the university course itself, or the academic course itself, right? And then you can still create an alumni around your course. So you don't need to go to the membership part of things. You can stick with the course and build an alumni where people get together and then talk about the course and the subject matter. And then you can offer follow-up sessions with it. And then you can also create like group coaching programs where you get together with and it is like a more intimate, more high touch. I know that you can have the same impact no matter which one you choose. But because it's your personal brand, you have to know what your business goal is with a product like this or a service package like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be in alignment with what you want, right? Otherwise you are chasing the silver pennies and creating something just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So during your journey, you know, you kind of shared a little bit about your story and how you started teaching when you were 4. So you were quite fortunate in life, I guess, to find that purpose from so young and have continued going along that. Now, I'm sure that it hasn't just all been easy. So can you share a couple of challenges that you faced along the way of, you know, being in your own business, or even this current stage of your business, and how you've overcome those?
Obviously, when I was 16 and I started to teach adults, and then I had to overcome the belief that I cannot give them enough. So this not being enough was the first one that I had to overcome. Then, because it was more like a freelancing kind of thing, and I saw that you know you have to grow into something, then building a business around it, so then hiring people and building a team to become a real school that was not a friend from university who said goodbye to me when my son was around 3 months old. So I had to restructure everything, and I had to, so that was a very, very deep part of it. But as they say, growth comes with pains and, you know, whatever. So, and then I also learned that building a team is very, very important, because if you don't hire the right person for the right position, then it also kills momentum. And I did have some hires that turned out to be less beneficial, and then I had to start like from the ground up again, me taking up all the lessons and teaching everything. So that was also it when my son was around 3 or 4 again. And then I decided, okay, because technology is my friend, then why don't I do something that I don't need a big team to deliver? And so now technology, as we all know, can throw us curveballs. And then I started out with a kind of course platform. Then I figured out that it doesn't support the guidelines, or it doesn't give me enough opportunities to build kind of courses that I know can bring results. So then I had to search for it, and then it took me like a year to find a course platform that I can now say that it does what I want a course platform to do.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. I think that we can all resonate with the feeling of, am I enough? Or whether you're 16 or, you know, whether you're in your 20s or 30s. And I definitely, so a lot of my clients, they're around my age. So it wasn't so, because I can't imagine what it would have been like teaching as a 16-year-old to adults, and feel like, I can imagine that would be really overwhelming. And what does a 16-year-old have to give a 40-year-old. But I know some of my clients who are a little bit younger have been really nervous around coaching older people, thinking, how am I going to help them? And I really love that you touched on that as one of your challenges and did the work to get through that and came to see your worth, you know, in your space, and, you know, and were able to go on to continue to grow. And also, you know, even moving through from hiring a team, I know what that's like. I've done the same thing. It hasn't worked in my favor. Got some great lessons, and thought, well, how do you change this? And that's the beautiful thing, I guess, about life, isn't it? You get some great lessons along the way, and then you go, right, how do we move forward to continue to create what it is that we want? So they're really awesome challenges. So thanks so much for sharing those.
And obviously, when you pivot, you don't pivot because you want to pivot, but you pivot because you are forced to pivot, and you just hope that it goes along the lines that helps you with your vision or reaching what you want. Because I do believe that institutionalized education is dead. So we need to create as many courses as we can so that we can offer a tangible counterpart or a counter opportunity to schools and universities.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely a more flexible model. That's what I love about it, is that it's not so rigid, and we can start breaking that routine and the way that we think we're meant to live our lives and do something differently. And it starts to change the thought patterns a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Now you also, yeah, so you also help your clients write the content for their program, which is amazing, because that can be really tough for people to go, right, I know I want to create something, I know what it roughly is going to have in it, but how do I start and how do I create it itself? So how do you go about guiding your clients for that part of it? Is that online based, or is that one-on-one based? Or yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that part of the business?
If we can do it like you hire me, so it can be a done for you service, but it can be like you buy my course, how to build a course, and then you go over it. I do basically the same, and I do believe that it's not a big, so it's not a secret. You have a lecture part where you present the theory or a part of the theory, then you have to create a scenario that is real life based or taken from real life, where students can practice it, and then you have to measure how much your students understand a bit of the theory or the whole course. So each unit should have like a presentation part, a practice part, and then an assessment part. And that is what makes a lot of people intimidated, because not all the students go over the same thought process, and you want to cater to as many different thought processes as you can. And because you are in your own head, this is how I do, then it's difficult to get out of that thing. And for example, there is a client of mine who likes to say that because I have a totally different mindset around everything in the world,
yes,
this is why she loves it. And this is how else you can do it. So it's all roads lead to Rome. It is a great saying here in Europe. I'm probably all around the world. So if you want to get to Rome, we don't need to take the same road, but we all want to get to Rome.
yes.
So that's it.
Yeah, awesome. And I've had a couple of people ask me, as I mentioned to you, there are a couple of people really excited to be able to watch this with you, which is great. But they were based in Australia, and apparently 5:30 was just too early, which is fine. But can you share a little bit with us, to those people? They were interested in how, like, what you did, and also how you helped people. So I assume that your clients, because it's online, can be all around the world. And can you share with us, for those people that would, you know, potentially like to know more about how to work with you, what that looks like, and even how to reach out and contact you?
Sure, they can send me a DM on Facebook or on Instagram or anywhere. But it's very interesting that you ask how people can work with me, because my very first client was a lady who lived in Australia, but then spent a lot of the time in Chicago. So over the course of the 8 weeks while we built her course, it was sometimes I had to be, you know, on Australian time zone and then to the Chicago time zone, and it was like a balancing act. But then it all comes down to the fact that if we find the right time for both of us, then we can work together.
Yeah.
So yes, the way you can work with me, the easiest and fastest, if you reach out to me and then we talk about what your ideas are, and then I can help you. I have a course if you like to do it independently. I do have a membership community that will open in September back up again. So now it's closed, but we are working there with members. And then I also do this one-on-one, and I'm launching a group program. So we start this, I call it the summer boot camp, but then for Australia it's winter boot camp, whatever. But you can start the new school year on the right foot.
We like to pretend it's summer anyway over here. So, you know, so if that's what it's called, we can pretend. Awesome. So you've got a number of different options to obviously cater to different people, depending on where they are in the world, as well as what their needs are and how they like to work, which is absolutely amazing. So they'll definitely be watching this later on to hear more about that part. I think my last question, and you know, you're welcome to add anything that you want as well, you know, if there's anything that you really passionately want to talk about. But my last question to you, what would be one piece of advice that you would like to offer either coaches in a one-on-one space or coaches that are looking to transition into that more course creation space?
My advice would be is to start to prepare, because the preparation part is always the longest. Once you have a detailed enough outline for your course, then it's easy to build. But you need to prepare and to be really clear. What is the transformation that your course? So it's like, obviously, when you are a coach, you have an experience of I don't know how many years, and then you pick and choose right in the live session with your client what the client needs. But we need to filter all those things out and condense it into a course. And that is what is challenging the most. In the most cases. So to prepare to understand that just because you want to build a course, it doesn't mean it's going to be one course, or you don't have to put your heart and soul into it. Your students don't want your heart and soul. They want your expertise. And most of all, they want the transformation. And then also you don't need to beta test it, because if you beta test it in a small group of people, then you get the feedback of that small group of people. But then you want to scale it, so you want to make it as optimal for a diverse student base as you can. And yeah, that's it. So prepare, do not beta test.
Yep.
That takes you completely off of the track. And then if you don't know how to bridge theory to implementation, then ask me, I show you.
Absolutely. I actually have one more question, which you've just reminded me of through that, is that I don't know whether this is an around the world mentality or whether it's something that has been formed over in New Zealand and Australia, but there are a lot of people in the coaching space that recommend selling the course and then creating it for your clients along the way. I would love to, I'm actually quite anti that. I'm very much about building and then selling, but I would love to know your advice on that.
Okay, so if you know your detailed enough outline, you can start selling it, but not for the sake of getting feedback on your outline. but because having enough audience that buys it. I personally believe, and I see it happen, that if you beta, so if you pre-sell and you beta launch it on a small group of people, it ruins your positioning. Yeah. So to sell the course on that price point and to communicate the value that the course really has, like monetary, financial value, it undermines. So if you are an authority in your field, if you're a mindset coach and you know how you can take your clients from A to Z, and you know that your course will teach clients to get from A to K, because the rest part you would want to keep as a one-on-one coaching style. This is why I told you that it depends completely on your business model and on your goals as a coach, how you want to build it. But if you know that the course can take them from A to K, and I want to sell it for X amount of dollars, then you don't beta test it for like a fraction of it and tell your friends to come and try it and then give feedback. You don't get professional feedback because those people want the transformation. But a lot of the times we also know that clients say they want something, but we as coaches see that they need something else. So we serve them with what they want, but we also give them what they need. Yeah. And if you just listen to what they want and you don't know what they need, then you are off track again. And you when you build a course, you are not there, you can't course correct. So it's not like, you know, oh, you need a bit more, like, I don't know, 2 more deep breaths before you move on to scratching your head. I'm just saying something, you know. You are not there. But if it's like over the screen in a one-on-one session, you know, because you read the energy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, completely agree. Awesome. Well, that is my last dying questions for you. Obviously, we can contact you via Facebook or Instagram, or anyone can message you or what have you. I will make sure that I put the link to both your Facebook and Instagram page in the comments or in the caption of this as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. I've loved hearing about this and your words of wisdom. And your energy is absolutely amazing. I love the way you think. As you mentioned, a lot of people love working with you because you think differently, and I really do. I get that, and I really love it. And I really trust that this has helped, you know, a few of those coaches out there who are getting to that fully booked stage, that can see everything else, but they don't know when the right time is for them, or they don't know how to take that next step. So this has been super valuable, and thank you so much.
I thank you for being here.
Oh, welcome. I love it. I love technology, and I love how we can connect and then jump online and, you know, and have really awesome conversations like this, just to showcase to people what really is, you know, kind of possible, and to think a little bit differently than what they get in Facebook ads every day. Wonderful. I'll let you get back to your evening, and thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.